All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Doing a public power hour today on account that our market just got a pretty nice little bounce, and we'll see what that leads to. But figure we go public, talk about it, see if anyone else had any perspectives on it. Obviously, the inflation numbers came out today, and they were amazing, absolutely amazing inflation numbers, only inflating 8% over last year, I think is how it works out. Last month was 9%. And the market's getting a general bounce out of that. Yesterday we ended the power hour stating that, well, not a very good looking situation. We can get back up, but it's going to take a tremendous amount of force. And then bam, we get a candle like that, which is pretty crazy. Wasn't anticipating that. I actually thought it was not going to happen, but that's what happens when you get inflation numbers in 2022. Apparently everyone's ears are hinging on that. So 24,261 is our current alert level. We never quite got past that. A lot of coins pop in today, but we're not necessarily running that dramatically yet. It's just consolidating the pop from earlier. And that's why I thought I'd go public, just to kind of talk it over with everybody. And I think I got an idea about what the market's doing. Obviously, I can be wrong, but I don't know. I just think I have a general idea about what we could be going in the future here. What's up, Mike? So, yeah, Bitcoin popping up. Got a reprieve from undercutting the trend line a little bit. Didn't really do a bad job if you kind of back up a little bit to yesterday or early today. So we were here yesterday during the show, kind of around here during the show. Not doing too much. Dropped down a little bit. Phone just bleeped. There you go, Loopy. Yeah, you're welcome, bud. Wide and loose. Yeah, so this is about the inflation number that popped out. We're live today, Mark. We're public today. This is about the inflation number. And you can see not a lot of action going up. A little bit of a good candle right there. That was at 1 o'clock in the morning my time. So that was about 8 hours ago. And then boom, you get that popping up early, about 5 a.m. The inflation number comes out, and now we're holding up here. Mike says wide and loose. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much wide and loose. Not in a bad way though. I mean, wide and loose is generally considered bad, but I'll take popping up. I'll take that. That part's okay, but we definitely have to try to get higher overall, and that's the general thing that we want to see, which we haven't seen yet. We're holding it in a nice consolidation up here on Bitcoin. And let me move to the index chart so we can get correct volume ranges. If you didn't know, Binance lowered their trading fees to 0, and so therefore they've been getting a tremendous amount of volume. So we're using the index chart a lot more right now, just to try to keep things even keel for the structures that we're in. Hey, what's up, Aram? How you been, bud? So the index chart here shows the volume structure a little bit better. Let's get rid of some of these lines for right now. We can always redraw them. Okay, so this has the same trend line going across it right there. Some type of a strange cup and handle. Not sure what it is. I'm not sure it has a traditional definition, to be quite frank with you. But we are holding sideways, so not really mad at that. Volume is okay. It's not super low. I would like it if it were a lot lower, but I'll take what we have right now over a larger dropping scenario anyways. Stupid things? You know what? Damn the stupid things. I agree with you. They are stupid, Aram. All of them. If they're keeping you from the show, they're dumb. Probably just your business, huh? Just your life. Just your livelihood. But yeah, so, I mean, a generous move above this level, that would be a breakout. That would be what you want to see. That would probably take us all the way back up here to, at a minimum, the 20, almost the 28,000 level. Hey, what's up, Dan? That would pop us up probably up into that area. There's obviously going to be some resistance here at the peak at about 25.4, but that's just one thing you can see. There's not a lot of price action around there. Most of your resistance will be here and even up in towards the 32,000 level. That would be very interesting if we could get into that area. Let's move to the Binance chart where we have that trend line, and if we just take it out, that's right there. Moving up over into that area would put us right up into this trend line, which is the overall downward sloping trend line for this entire structure, this entire bear market that we've been in. So A move up there would be interesting, and it could start relatively shortly, or we could pause and still chop around this range. The fact that we haven't popped up above it yet means there's still the possibility that we can roll over. Now, there's a lot of fear out there in terms of inflation, in terms of a lot of economic stuff, especially in the U.S., debt and all that garbage. But at the same time, the markets do what the markets do. You can't really let that get to you. All you can do is go with the markets. That's all you can do. You can't really let anything scare you or make you too overly bullish. But this is not a bad scenario. It's definitely better with volume like this. What you don't want to see, though, is just be a one-trick pony and then not do anything afterwards. ETH's up over 100%. Yeah, I think so. This is in the 900-something area, right? Yeah, we'll get to ETH in a little bit. So I like the tight action in the previous 2-hour bar right there. Let's go to the 15-minute time frame. And yeah, it looks like a nice little. That looks like a very nice situation. This could be actually a good place to consolidate, which is what it's doing, and to rally through our alert level at the 24,261. So, I mean that's pretty good. Nothing's guaranteed, but if you're gonna put in a bullish formation, that's one of the ones you'd want to see. Unequivocally, right there. That's pretty good. Volume aggregation tool likes it. Selling stepping in a little bit, but you can still see the big green bars down here. So overall, not a bad situation. And the stock market, I think, is going to be leading us because we're working on fundamentals, and Nasdaq's up 2.6%. And that's starting to break out too. Not quite the same pattern, but nothing that dissimilar, I would say. This is even cleaner. So hopefully we'll be able to break out. It's hard to buy before a breakout. If you do, you have a tighter stop loss. You also have a risk of just getting stopped out if we never even attempt a breakout. So those are always things to ponder. And that's why you have to have rules, and you have to know kind of what you want to do in these situations in terms of just, buying potential breakouts. Some people wait for the breakout. Some people, buy low and get a really tight stop loss. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. Dixie, yeah, we'll do stocks a little later, and we'll look at that, Loopy. We'll look at the Dixie. So, yeah, I'm not mad at Bitcoin 15-minute, though. That's pretty good. You've spotted a pattern? You know what? Let's do it. So, back down here to 22.9, Monkeytron, you're thinking? The funny thing is, we tend to have these interesting little volatile events around Fed events and inflation numbers. So all these kind of core economic things tend to get us not really excitable, but counter what we're going to do upon the news, I guess. But I think the general gist of everything that's going on right now is that the worst possibly is behind us. And we've talked for a couple of months now. Well, maybe not a couple of months. I don't want to say that, but we've been discussing since we kind of averted capitulation down here. This was the drop that should have continued and should have taken the market out right here, but it didn't. It stopped, and then you end up with, well, that's the index chart. Then the Binance chart, and then you end up with this action. So that being the case, we've been talking about sideways action here. And we don't know what that looks like yet because it hasn't happened yet. But there's that potential that we go into a sideways choppy market. And I'm generally assuming that's what's going to happen. If we get up here towards the 28, I mean, that would be pretty dramatic and we'll be ready to go with it. But I would assume that maybe we fake up a little bit and then come back down and play with the 20Ks a little bit more and create some type of a low structure. But even that being said, we are right now playing with these older resistance levels from the low, and I think I have it on the 2-hour chart, but I moved it. Yeah, we're getting right. Yeah, so we're above it a little bit right now because we're playing with these highs, but this is the point that I kind of had right here as our resistance level for this. You can see the line shows up here on the daily. For this entire structure, this is the line that we had. And we've been playing with it, so it moves it up a little bit, which is good to play in the upper echelon. So right now we're above it, which is nice. And you can see we're playing with this green candle here, but that's not really of a lot of substance. This move here is a lot obviously a lot more definitive of a move than this little fluff ball right there. But so I think that's the level, and we're above it, which is good. I like being above it. But if you come back underneath of it, which easily could happen, then we could stay lower and slower under maybe that level, or even this 24,261 level. It'll be hard to tell until we get a little bit more time. I do want to say something when it comes to breakouts and stuff like that, since this isn't my normal audience, the normal power hour people. Hey, what up, Ken? Ken distracted me. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the market does not trend most of the time. It actually most of the time goes sideways, and trying to stay solvent during those sideways times is that's the hard part. That's kind of part of the hard part, is to know when to take appropriate action. And sometimes it's difficult. You're going to get chopped up every once in a while, but trying to play the patient game is hardball. Since you move less than right around a third of the time. A third of the time you make moves. Other than that, you're chopping around. So if you're better at a chop, I was thinking about this actually a couple of days ago. Like, if you're better in choppy markets, it's probably a little bit easier because you chop around most of the time. You just have to, if you can identify when you're chopping and when you're trending, man, you've got a really good situation on your hands. So, and can act appropriately. That's really the key there. Yeah, we did a show the other day and talked about becoming an expert, because I watched a video. I forget what it was. What was it? Where did I find that video? But it was about how to become an expert. Oh, it was a Veritasium video. Yeah, search up Veritasium on YouTube. He's got a video on becoming an expert, and it was there was 4 deliberate things that you needed to become an expert. It wasn't just the 10,000 hours. That was part of it, but it was about repetition. It was about timely feedback. It was about knowing you're even doing the right thing in the first place. And that's, people think they jump into trading and it's just all easy, but you have to practice the right things for long enough to be good enough to make money. That's the whole thing. And being able to survive these markets is a skill in of itself. All right, let's take a look at the futures. These futures charts have been a little bit interesting lately, in a good way. I kind of like the way the futures have been shaping up a little bit better. We're going through the trend line here on the futures, so that's nice. Yesterday we were looking at coming back down, but we got saved today. Volume today, not actually pretty good. It's not that bad. Could be better, obviously, but not that bad. You can see here the 2-hour, nice peak right there on the way back up. But the fact we haven't broke out yet, like, it gets your attention. It's alerting, right? It's kind of like someone cutting in front of you real quick in your car. You didn't get into an accident, but it alerted you, and it's pretty darn close. That's what just happened to us with popping up. Hasn't happened yet, but it's pretty darn close. They brake check you, it's done. In this case, they'd have to step on the gas and explode us higher. But so not a bad situation here from the futures. I still think I know we're in a vis-a-vis our follow-through day system. This is in a correction, and this still has one distribution day. Yeah, still has one distribution day, so looking pretty good. I have to say, this is an interesting uptrend. It's not a very, very great uptrend. One thing we didn't do, Monkeytron, did we ever look at follow-through day system? Let's look at it in 2015. I don't know if we ever did that, did we? Do we ever look at the follow-through day system in 2015? Because it seems like that would be an interesting torture test for it. We know it's not perfect, but it's oh, what's it hitting here? That's why. Hold on a second. I gotta adjust this. Show 0-day line level. There we go. Okay. There we go. I don't think we did either. Okay. So here it is. Here's the world famous follow-through day system, which case is interesting to see what it does here. So most people aren't familiar with this. This is our proprietary follow-through day system. This is Monkeytron wrote this indicator for us based on the follow-through day system. Big green triangles are uptrends, or what are called follow-through days, and then larger candles, purple or blue, put us into a correction. So obviously this is a majorly choppy area. We've just never done this before. So that is garbage. This is garbage. It's a choppy market. I didn't expect it to be great. That's an instant correction. That's a bad day to go and do a correction. Yeah, it worked like complete trash. Obviously, everything works good in an uptrend, though. Well, that's a good sequence. So that's a good sequence. I'm not sure when this next one does, but I'll just point out these next two. So yeah, obviously didn't do very good. So following, we talked a little bit earlier about choppy markets and understanding what market cycle you're in. Obviously, when you're in a big, if you're in this situation, you're probably, you're probably identifying what you're in. Especially by this point, like this actually wouldn't be a bad follow through day. You obviously get shaken out right there. What the follow through day system does, because most of you are uninitiated, what it does is it tracks unusual accumulation and unusual distribution. It's derived from the stock market follow through day system, and I've adopted it to cryptocurrencies, and it's pretty good. No system is perfect, but it's pretty good. There's obviously, it's kind of like following any type of a indicator based system. There's times where it fails and times where it succeeds. But in an uptrend, the follow through day system actually does really, really well of identifying reversal points and when to get back in. Obviously, in a choppy market, it's not that good. This one, break even. You lose money there, lose money there. Definitely lose money there. But I would argue that this one may have taken you out, obviously, because it undercut the 0 day here. But this one, you could have made some money by, maybe at least selling here. If you're looking at further breakdowns, I mean, that one's pretty obvious. So that one could have been a positive, maybe wiped out one or two of these losses. So it is what it is. All uptrends start with a follow through day or close to a start. Yeah, no, that's true. And again, this is derived from the stock market. All uptrends start with a follow through day, all of them, but not all follow through days work. And then this is an example of it following through. So if you use that for an entry based system, you take the opportunities. You can see, but even in this chop, really, it didn't do too bad. This was about flat. This one, we've actually found that I think the worst performing follow through gives you like a 13% drop or something like that. But if you use it, solely based on the indicators alone, like if you do that, this whole thing is neutral to you, and then you buy right there, and then you get involved in that. So I mean, all in all, I think it gets a pretty good grade. Probably a B minus because it keeps you in the game. So that's pretty good. But then obviously here it does pretty well. And then gets you another follow through day right there. So anyway, it got you out of it, but obviously you had to go through some chop. And we may be in that situation here with the follow through days here today. We don't know if this one's going to work out dramatically, but let's just say that because we've been in a follow through day for since July 18th, so about 3 weeks. A sentiment indicator? No, I'll disagree on that one. I don't think it's a sentiment indicator. It's abnormal accumulation and distribution. Yeah, it's just what it is. It's a price action tool. It's not a sentiment trader. I get what you're saying, but this actually leads the sentiment. I think that's what you'll find. I think that's what you're going to find. But let's just take this as the same scenario that we just saw. What you could find is, we move up here, test, come back down in a weird fashion, and then maybe if you use this, you would have you bought here and you would have sold here like we just saw. But once again, knowing decent trading tactics, you were able to maybe take profits up here, and you avoid all of this mess. So, nothing in trading exists in a vacuum, at least in terms of price action and chart patterns. It's not an actual algorithm. I mean, it is because Monkeytron was able to put it into TradingView, but you don't want to trade based off of it. We've simulated that, and it's not very good for algorithmic trading. Use the wrong word. You got the right word? All right. All right. So that's Bitcoin. And yeah, so this is a public preview of my my power hour. We do this every single day. If you are interested, you can go to real-crypto.com. Link is in the description and sign up if you're interested. Hit the like button since you're here. You may as well. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means everything to me. At least that's what people on YouTube keep telling me. But yeah, so all in all, not bad action. I don't think today is the end all of the bear market, but it's definitely a good sign though, and I like the fact that the market, is able to push it higher. I think that's a really good thing, is that we're seeing the ability to go higher. We were losing that over here, and I guess they were just waiting for the inflation data to come out before they bought their positions. So, but they're still around. The bulls are still here, so that's good. So we can move up. The question is, is it going to be long term? And another interesting thing about this market situation, just the time that we're living in from a market perspective, and even an economic perspective, is obviously now everyone's an economic expert. Okay, so first of all, everybody was an immunologist. They were experts in immunology. Then they were mask experts when no one even owns a fan or a way to measure anything. And I'm not taking a side on any of this. I'm just saying generally, masks don't work. Masks stop everything. Like, it's stupid. And then everybody was a supply chain expert. And then everybody supply chain expert. Now everybody's an inflation expert. It's like, Jesus, come on. No one even heard the word supply chain until 2020. Nobody. It was like, what's a supply chain? And they're like, oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then they think about it for 15 seconds, and then all of a sudden they're posting stuff on Twitter, and they're supply chain experts. So it's interesting. And now everyone's an inflation expert. Now everyone's, a recession expert. And but the whole thing about it is, you can be knowledgeable in those things, and it's good to be knowledgeable in those things. You should get some knowledge. You know what I mean? You don't have to get it at a college level, because most of them don't even know what the hell they're doing for the most part. But you should get some knowledge under your belt so you can at least understand the information that's coming out, make your own decision, and then reference the market for what it actually means. Because here's the thing. The people that are putting money to work in the market are the ones that decide what information is worthwhile or not. You may think that, 8% inflation is horrible and we're all going to die in an inflation storm tomorrow because we can't afford bread. But then the market rallies 10%. Like, who's right? Well, you can still buy bread at the store, even if it is $7, but you missed out on 10% gain in the market. You know what I mean? You may have missed your buy signal due to your biases. So if you want to participate in the markets, and I'm assuming everybody here does, you have to listen to the markets. So, all right, Bitcoin holding strong, not too bad right there. We still haven't fallen away yet. All right, let's move on to Ethereum. And ETH really got positive today. With 8 hours left in the day, we're already above average volume on Binance. This is the Binance chart. So pretty good right there. And above our 1749, came back with a vengeance. Look at how much it got chopped up. But straight back up with a 1-2 and looks good. Hey, what's up, Ken? Hopefully it doesn't move up too fast. Need to establish good base to blast off from. Don't want to repeat the run up from 16 and fall to like 20. Oh, yeah, up at 14. Yeah. It's not that type of a market, I don't think. I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. That was a good time, though. I wouldn't mind that. To be quite honest with you, I'll take 3K to 14K. Let's just do that. But let's make it, 20K to, what would that be, like a 5-fold or something, basically. 5-fold, so we'll go from 20K to 100K. I'll take 20K to 100K for 100, Alex. Let's do that. So, from a tradable perspective, not too bad. I won't take that. I'll take that. But so Ethereum, maybe half-ass showing us our future here. You've got the 1712 level, which yesterday we were failing. Today we're right back above it. Once again, I mentioned it's going to take some really good volume to push us up, and lo and behold, we actually got it. I didn't think we were going to get it, but we got it. So uptrend, it's a little bit like those cliffhanger movies where 3 people chained themselves together to grab the person that was falling from the cliff and missed the first You know, it's like there's one hand, it's like, save me, and they miss, or they touch hands and they let go and they keep falling, and you glance back to the person's face and they're falling to their death, and you look at the hands and they're clasping together, and there's three dwarves holding each other up from the cliff. and obviously the smallest dwarf is in the back, they lift you up. That's kind of what this feels like a little bit this morning stepping into this. But Ethereum, I'm really liking the Ethereum action. Now, obviously, they've got their fork that's supposed to be coming up. I'm not 100% informed on that. I do know that stuff is supposed to be happening and merging and forking and coding and whatever, all that stuff. But I do know that also 40 days or so. Gotcha. I do know that volume was declining. Today's a nice volume day, so we'll see what we get. But I do like the action to get above even recent highs here on Ethereum, or above that 1786. Not by a bunch right now. So it's good action, but, you know, they're going to buy the news. Is there additional follow-up volume? That's really the key here. But ETH is more bullish than BTC. It really shows in the ETH BTC chart. We'll see that later. I don't think super actionable up here. I think wait a little bit to see how it consolidates and if it's going to blast off. There's an additional resistance here at 1924.51. That's one of my breakdown points. So ETH fork's going to go the way of BTC forks. Well, we haven't seen... Well, this is supposed to be the big fork. Apparently, after this, Ethereum's done. They're not going to do anything else. It's proof... That's a joke. It's proof of stake, and then they're done. Vitalik's going to go retire and try to put on 3 pounds of body mass so he can bulk up. Because he doesn't have to code anymore. But I mean, I like the price action. I mean, more people protesting proof stake and doing their own thing. Well, there's always going to be people protesting. I don't know. It doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, Bitcoin's still Bitcoin, you know, regardless of what Roger Ver says or wants to say. And Ethereum's still going to be Ethereum regardless of what Ethereum Classic people want to say. So, who cares? I don't care. They can all... there's never a kumbaya ceremony. I mean... If anybody were to be kumbaya, you think, you know, U.S. would be the kumbaya state. But can't even kumbaya in the U.S. It's really gone the other direction. I think the more popular something gets, the more fragmented something gets. Because everyone's got an opinion. Everybody wants to be the man. And that's, you know, I think that's why ant colonies exist in millions of little ant colonies. Because the queens will be all fighting with each other. No, I want to do it this way. No, I want to do it that way. And then they just all kill each other. And we'll do that one day too. But we'll all kill each other. And, you know, you look at history, and that's how history is formed. They say that history is written by the victors, and that's very true. And in this case, Bitcoin is the victor, and the general Ethereum chain is the victor. So it's just going to be what it's going to be. You know, most forks are sell the news events. Obviously, when Cardano went live, it died and didn't stop. Still hasn't stopped. Ethereum, maybe it'll be the same thing. I don't know. It's possible. Or it'll change nothing because it is still the most used cryptocurrency network in terms of, you know, you can pick a stat and nullify that statement. But you get my point. It's still like the biggest cryptocurrency network. All right, so ETH in a decent spot. I like the move up. Check lower time frames for entries on that one, but it's not bad. Next up is Hex. Hex having a pretty good day today. Hex actually broke out from the high of this whole cup and handle today. Yesterday we were stalling a little bit, but today we're breaking out. So let's see if it can hold up there. Hex at the 5.058 level, little under 6 cents. So not too bad. Not too bad for Hex. Is it going to be able to get all the way back up? I don't know. I don't know about that one. This is a tricky one. It's kind of done everything we've asked it to do, though. I mean, in reality, it behaves pretty well. You got a bear flag, and then it's just blah, 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 blah. Look at the inverted head and shoulders target. I keep it there because it's impressive. Just like Ethereum did the same thing on the way down. It was impressively got down to where it was supposed to as well. Same with Hex. And then it stopped on a dime and reversed. Really with not tremendous amount of bottoming action. But after that, we came down, went horizontal across the trend line. Has been good ever since. So not too mad at Hex. All right, next up is BNB. Jesus, I can't type today. Literally cannot type in a standing desk. BNB. There we go. Bouncing back really nicely, chopping around the 321.50. And again, there's that additional volume. But we'll see if it's a one pump chump or not. That's the story. Is it going to be one and done, or are we going to continue and follow through? And this is the same for pretty much everything. XRP. XRP back up as well, although this has pretty much been garbage for a long time. So we're not going to spend any amount of time on XRP. Cardano bouncing off of that trend line. Again, giving it some additional time. We have a resistance level at 54.66. Okay, let me get rid of this one because that confused me for a second. We'll see if we can get past that. Cardano's not in a bad spot. We've been waiting for Cardano to do something. It just hasn't. Next up is Solana. And Solana trying to get back up here off of the lower trend line towards the upper trend line. Morning, ML. So this is a little bit intriguing, although volume didn't step in nearly as heavy. I could see Solana one day just blasting off for seemingly no apparent reason. And you're looking back and going, oh yeah, cup and handle breakouts. Look at all these alerts. And then it just goes. I definitely could see that. I definitely could see that with Solana. It does have a big fan base backed by FTX. I mean, it's got a lot going for it. Speaking of which, let me actually adjust all these alerts while we're sitting here. That actually may be the level. Let's find out in a second here. Yeah, we'll keep that for right now. XRP flipped ETH once upon a time. Yeah, that was interesting. It's like, what the hell? You know what? I think I'm just going to go. This is a bit of a tough one because I don't like to put alerts too far out from current price. If I go to the top, which I really want to go up here, that's a good 12, almost 13%. If you try to stay current, then you run the risk of chopping into resistance. But yeah, 8%. All right, I'm just going to leave it right here. Not my favorite alert, 43.86. Sometimes there's just no really great level, but I think I'll bias lower on this one for now. All right, that'll work. All right, next up is Dogecoin. Dogecoin's been really, really volatile and not going anywhere fast. 07474 alert, that's still valid. Get rid of some trend lines. There we go. DOT. With the 891, this thing's been pretty choppy and volatile. Great day today, though. Very good day today, 7.75%. It is our third leading token today behind Uniswap and Ethereum. And it's been trying to lead. Really was giving it up yesterday, but trying to get back today. Volume's been pretty heavy lately on DOT, but it's been pretty choppy. It's been pretty choppy. You had to try to buy it lower somehow, or breakouts were always. See these breakouts, these are always cut back in, so very difficult to hold this one, but it's been going up, so if you got it lower, hold on to it. Volume's good, aggregate, or the average volume rising generally here, which is a good thing. Fairly consistent buying pressure too. I think they're thinking this is just undervalued, but big resistance at 11, which is a good amount away, good amount from here. Yeah, 20%. We'll see if it gets there. It's hard to buy right now, though. That was the alert level. Let's see. Obviously, that trend line break would have been really nice if I was awake at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, again, another tough one. You know what? Let me, maybe I had too many trend lines here. Did I miss a little structure here? Yeah, maybe. Okay, that looks better. Oh, that you're actually still within a buy range, 3%. Aha. Kiss of death for DOT. Gavin tweeted it was unvalued at 50. It's at 9, basically 10. So okay, so this was the alert level. Looks like I had my chart a little bit too choppy with my my lines there. Doesn't happen very often, but just did right there. I think that's a good level. So technically still buyable. 3%. You usually don't want to buy out further than 5% from a breakout point, and I think this is a decent breakout point. So this makes things a lot more clean. I'm not going to put a level here because we're already above it. All right, let's move on. Actually, let me say this: if you did want to buy a DOT, your best stop is down about 12%, 11 to 12%. That's your best stop. That would infer a smaller position size because of the depth of the stop loss. All right, next up is Tron. And Tron with the 07058 alert level, which we've just been chilling underneath now for quite a while. Still won't go away, though. Volume diminishing, and it will not go away. Don't know if it'll blast up one day or not. It's hard to tell these things. I think I'm actually going to raise this up just a little bit because we're getting chopped up the past couple of days. There we go. Let's do the 7165. All right. Farhan's here. Jeez, I think you're our... I was going to say you're like our resident drunk, but we already have one of those. I'm here at work, boss. Stumbling in, eyes all bloodshot. Yeah, we're public today. You don't read the newsletter either, huh? That's funny. All right, 0.07165. Now, that feels better raising that because we've been chopped through our alert level a little bit right there. I mean, it's interesting. When I tend to move up alerts a little bit like that, it feels better. I don't have any information whether it is better, but it feels better. You deleted the newsletter when you saw it was online? You delete the newsletters? Oh, just the email? Yeah. All right. I could say anything in those. You should have read it today. I was talking mad trash about you, but I guess you'll never know. Shiba Swap. Shiba Swap. This was one where we raised the alert level 1309. It was here on the 12. Was it 12 something? Yeah, 12 whatever it was. Going through motions, 1309 still the alert. Not much to do right there. Only up 2%. AVAX back up to the right back up to this upward sloping trend line. Not this one, but this one. This one on the daily time frame. Right back up there. Good volume too. Man, not sure. I'm going to give this a little more time. Maybe I'll put an alert on it tomorrow. Maybe that's a mistake, but I just feel like we're still going to be choppy up here for a little bit. That's a tough one. I'll think about that, circle back if I need to. All right, next up is Matic. And Matic right back to our alert of 94.11, but stalling right at it. And Matic, one of our leaders. Interesting that it stalls, though. I'm not mad at it, but obviously it'd be better if we would just blast through levels. These rushes up to resistance are very interesting. I do like the fact, though, that we're low volume after the rush up. That is good. But we definitely need follow through across the board, not just on Matic. That's a note for across the board. All right, Uniswap, another one of our leaders, big leader here, and this one did rally through an alert level, but it's not a great alert level because it was on a slant, and you can see we kind of chopped through it a little bit a couple days ago. Anyways, so the previous 2-hour candle met with some resistance. You can see the choppiness there, and not very impressive, I would say. We got up, but I wish we got a little bit higher. Looks like we hit kind of those levels and stalled out. So yeah, we still need more. We still need more. We didn't do enough. 9.51. That's our new alert level. Get rid of this. This doesn't look right. At Mina, yeah, I'll add it to the list. Yeah, Oh, Mina versus USD ML. All right. So that's Uniswap. Still consolidating this. I'm not mad if it goes through the trend line, which it was doing. It wasn't doing it in a bad fashion. So sideways is fine. Obviously, you can look for the leaders to break up. That's the best case scenario, is those leaders break up. All right, Litecoin, choppy. Talk about wide and loose. This feels a little bit more wide and loose, just a little bit more around the trend line past couple of days here. Not really doing much with Litecoin there. FTT, also choppy, also very choppy. This could be one if I'm missing something here. I don't think so. If I miss something on a chart, then I second guess all my other charts, and that's kind of what's going on right now. Like, maybe I'm missing something with FTT. Doesn't look like it. Another base right there. Yeah. Let's just go right there. 32.22. Let's just do that. All right, updated that alert. And let's go ahead and wrap up the top 20. So wrapping up the top 20 USD, obviously the markets just had an influx of volume with the inflation numbers being announced, and I guess 8% inflation is good. Actually, CNBC would tell that story. Not sure what the real actual numbers is. Lighter than expected inflation report. So again, the market's forward looking, so it's rallying up. The only problem with this rally right now is we really didn't get through any resistance levels. We got right back to resistance levels, which generally isn't doing you a lot of favors. It's possibly leading to false signals. And sorry, guys, stepping out in front of my house here. Interesting. Possibly leading to false signals. So really, just pinpoint what you're doing. Don't react based on emotions. Don't react. If you have to do something small, if that makes sense. So, sometimes in these circumstances, if I'm like, oh, great, I got to buy, I'll buy a small position. I'll look around a little bit more. I get the itch scratched a little bit, and then I can circle back. And if things are rallying further, or I look around and things are looking good, then I'll come back and maybe add to positions. But right now, we're not rallying through yet. We're coming up into resistance, and so that's the thing. Ethereum, interesting example of that because it broke highs. This is what I wish more would have done. If more would have done this, that'd have been a lot better. A couple of comments there. Parties close to over. Large enterprise companies' earnings and margins are suffering terribly. Mass layoffs. Faran says I got some B2C level yesterday, feeling like getting out. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. I don't think so. We're really, you're close to potential low risk, what do I call it? Low risk, a defensive exit. It'd be a defensive entry for a short, but yeah. I work in the enterprise space. I'm seeing spending freezes and terrible outlooks across the board. So individual experiences are important. I generally listen to market action more. That's interesting. No one's ever come to me and said, "Oh, I work in large enterprise and they're freezing spending." I guess we'll see how long that lasts for. I don't know. I'd need to see more data. I tend to take a bit of a broader picture, even than just large enterprise. I know large enterprise. If you're talking Google, Facebook, Cisco, Intel, those AMD, more like now, those types of things. That's one thing. But if you look at the markets so far are happy with where we are. So I just have to go with that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. And it's really ominous when you say the party is close to over. Right? What does that mean? That doesn't really infer anything. That's not a actionable event. That's not something that you can act upon. I mean, yeah, so there's kind of a difference between, I guess, the outlook and the viewpoint. You know what I'm saying? So you can have an outlook like you can have a viewpoint like this, but in terms of market outlook, like what does that infer to on the rally? Well, I mean, all this stuff is known. I mean, if you're seeing freezing spends, the people in the know are seeing freezing spends. Um, let's circle back to this. Let me keep up with my thing, and we'll circle back to that because I don't completely disagree with you in terms of the rally being over. Um, although we'll see about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later too when we do some stock stuff. But I think it's going to be an interesting last half to the year. And that could bleed into the first quarter, first half of next year too, if that makes sense. But people are doing things defensively, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to last in perpetuity. I just think when we got a guy in chat 50 that um, says a lot of doomsday things, and he's been able to call himself correct now over the past several months, which kudos to him for that. But it can go too far, and you could end up being pessimistic when the market's optimistic, and that's a recipe for being on the wrong side of the trade. So choppy till November, Gavin. Yeah, I don't have a time frame like November, December, January. I just things tend to move in yearly cycles, so I just kind of say towards the end of the year because, well, at least for me, like if I say November, they'll say you said November, it moved in January. Either way, I was kind of right about either way. Yeah, if you call a bear 24/7, you'll eventually be right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And same with bulls. I mean, it's not just calling out. People like to make fun of bears because they're the ones always shouting in a bull market, but bulls do the same thing. I mean, it's the same on both sides. It's not like one's right and one's wrong. It's just one's right during this time and one's right during this time. So, I try not to be too bearish or too bullish. If I find myself being too bearish, I'm like, okay, something's wrong. It just can't be this bearish unless we're like sitting at highs and things are like there's situations that like COVID 2018 the recent drop, there's times to be more bearish, but it's a stepped thing for me. Like my slogan says that you hear every once in a while, one leg at a time with the market cycle in mind, because it's really the only way to do it. The guys that take big viewpoints across the board, if you're wrong, it's bad. It gets really, really bad. If you take it one leg at a time, you can afford to be wrong a couple of times. Interesting thing, SoftBank, if you guys know about SoftBank, they just announced a $21 billion trading loss because this Masayoshi son, he ended up handing over Alibaba shares. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so he ended up losing $21 billion because of hubris in the market. He got his ass handed to him in tech stocks. So, even the best of us can, even the best of us can do that. It's crazy. All right, let's move on. But yeah, so I guess to finish, I never really got to finish my wrap up. So to finish kind of wrapping up on the top 20, at least, we seem to have rallied into resistance levels for the most part. It doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to continue rallying forever and going through these resistance points, but we definitely could. So we've adjusted some alerts. Keep an eye out for those alerts. Thoughts on pins? Is that a stock or a crypto? Unfolding Dawn. I'm going to put it in USD pairs for now until I get another answer. All right, USD pairs. First up is Aave. It's a stock? Okay. Darn it. Hold on. I'm fighting with my thing. I will do that when it stocks, probably in about 5 to 10 minutes. All right. First up is Aave on USD pairs. Now, Aave is interesting. I almost didn't want to put this on here. I circled back and forth 3 and 4 times. When I do that, I tend to put it on the newsletter. I think this is an interesting setup, and Aave being definitely a leader in the DeFi space. Yeah, I thought I should mention it. I don't have a good alert. It was 95.60 was our last alert. Obviously, that got chopped into oblivion. There really hasn't been a lot going on here. and it's trying to break out a little bit right now. You can see here it's moving up more than most that we've already seen. So I thought I'd mention it. I don't have a buy point for it, but just bringing it to people's attention. Maybe it meets criteria for some of you. Maybe some of you have it. It's looking good if you do. Next up is Ethereum Classic. Now, this is obviously benefiting from the Ethereum hard fork and to whatever extent it's benefiting from that. But a lot of when this whole massive rally occurred over here, it was, again, speculation about the Ethereum hard fork. So we could get another big blast off. I have an alert at 39.61 and good volume today, getting us again back up into resistance. The more things change, the more they stay the same, and that's getting pretty good right there. And if it goes, it goes. And your stop here, if it does break out, still a little bit deep at about 11%. A bit of a smaller position size on that one, if you decide to take it. But that's not a bad one. Mina, someone asked about Mina. And Mina, yeah, I did see this earlier. I didn't put it on the newsletter because generally not a huge fan of rising channel breakouts, but this one does have some decent volume behind it, especially yesterday, but it was pretty choppy. Pretty choppy around there. Couldn't really make up its mind. And here today as well, volume okay, but not really getting any higher. Average volume in the 2-hour flattening out. Did get a little bit of a pop there, but it'll be interesting. I don't know if we have enough to back this up and just keep this rally going. That's the ticket. Because going back to what Jake was saying about enterprise companies cutting earnings, blah, blah, blah. If you look at that general economic sentiment, that's around. So from a larger macro picture, these rallies have been muted because it's not clear skies ahead. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of see the clouds getting a little bit lighter, but it's not clear skies ahead yet. But you're still seeing clouds. So I don't know. Something like Mina, which isn't a leader. This is not a leading platform. It's not a leading token. I don't know what the rank is, but it's not in the top 20. So it may be a bit more muted to the upside. I like the action on it. It's definitely intriguing. But taking positions up here is difficult because it's very easily stopped out. And so I'd rather just not take it and wait for a better setup. All right, BTC pairs. Only have 3 of those. Then we can talk about stocks and stuff. I know some of y'all is looking for that. All right, so seller network, we had a cup and handle on this one, and well, I guess we still have a cup and handle, and it just tried to break out. Actually, this is the whole candle during the show, so it tried to break out and failed. Thank you. Boom, right back down. Not a super bad situation on the fit. Let's go right to the 1 minute. Let's go to the crack chart because we're here, and there you can see a lot of selling pressure. So selling on the right there, and then subsequent selling candles are your 2 biggest volume candles right there on seller. So it may not be working out, this breakout. I don't know. Keep an eye on it. So this is a low Satoshi token. Low Satoshi rules apply. And yeah, low Satoshi rules apply. Low Satoshi rules, you have to buy with a half position size. You also have to buy as low as you possibly can. Once you decide you like it, if it drops, you buy it with a half position size with a tighter stop loss. And that's just to mitigate risk, because once you get 100 Satoshis, every tick is 1%. And that can, the way patterns go, you can have stop losses of 20%, which are not manageable with normal position sizes. All right, next up is Ethereum. And Ethereum, here we go. This is an interesting chart. I just talked about I don't like rising channels, and I really generally don't like rising channels. And Ethereum, rising channel, trying to break out. Let's see if it can hold up. Not sure if it'll be able to do it. These can be really powerful breakouts if they work, but again, the question is this an environment where Ethereum is really going to rock Bitcoin and just boom, just launch out of this? It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy right there. So I don't know if it's going to be able to do that. 100 sats should be called a fin, nod to Hal Finney. I actually don't know who Hal Finney is. One of the early Bitcoin guys. Well, he's got a picture up here. He's got to be doing something. Oh, he passed away in 2014. Oh, really? I wonder when his page went up. Not too many computer programmers. Oh, he was in Phoenix. I could have visited the dude. We could have hung out. Yeah, that's where he came in, Bitcoin. Finney was a cyberpunk and said, da, 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 da. He received the first Bitcoin transaction. Oh, interesting. Finney died. Finney denied he was Satoshi Nakamoto. Oh, he lived in the same city. Oh, wow. How come I never heard of this guy? Finney posted on Bitcoin Forum, Bitcoin Talk, that he was essentially paralyzed. He continued to program until his death. He worked on an experimental software called BF Click, which used trusted computing to strengthen Bitcoin wallets. Interesting. Yeah, right, Loopy? Only Satoshi would deny he was Satoshi. Wow. Programmer that got in Wikipedia, that alone is pretty good. ALS, that sucks, man. He was cryopreserved? What? He's trying to keep himself alive so he can get his Bitcoin back. I see what he's doing. He's like, I'll raise your trash digging expedition. I'll freeze my head in a jar for 300 years. Unfortunately, it probably won't be unfrozen. That's still a thing? Alcor Life Extension Foundation. Where's the website? Yeah, they're in Arizona too. That's right. I forgot about them. I can have my head frozen, guys. You guys want to get your heads frozen too? Pausing the dying process. Cryonics within reach. What? They have they have Hal Finney on here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. He's on the cover. He's in the middle. That's crazy. Yes, Ken. Yeah, this is definitely a rabbit hole. We do this from time to time. What else are you supposed to do? Look at stupid charts all day long. Gotta talk about something fun. All right, how many patients? 193. 193. Hal Finney's the guy that got up. That is hilarious. That's got to be expensive. How much is getting your head frozen? All right, let's see if they're probably not going to have a price up front. It's got to be, yeah. See, I'm not going to go through all that. It's got to be $100,000. If they only have 100, it's got to be $1,000,000. Satoshi disappeared around the time Hal stopped communicating. Could be. I mean, he's a cyberpunk after all, so he's kind of one of those dudes, I guess. 193 patients. That's got to be, come on, to keep an operation going, it's got to be like 5 million bucks. Come on. So 193. So let's do times 10 million because I'm really lazy at math. So it's 10 million, that's 1.9. May not be 10 million. What about 2 million? 386. You know, they could probably do it for $1,000,000. How about 500,000? I could do it for 500,000 with 193 patients. That's not too bad. They've got to have solar. Better have solar on top of their building and some good battery backup systems. It's pretty good. All right, enough with freezing our heads. Enough with freezing our heads. Where are we at? Ethereum. Ethereum BTC. Yeah, it could be, man. It really could be. You never know. Whole Satoshi Nakamoto. it just takes a certain kind of an individual to not have that notoriety. A lot of people be like, I'm Satoshi. Like, I would probably say it. Although, I guess if it got big and I wasn't known the whole time, maybe I wouldn't. Just to stay anonymous. Like, what would it benefit me? What would it benefit me to be Satoshi? All I would do, people be asking me for Bitcoin. That would be my whole entire life. People ask me about Bitcoin. And if I wasn't involved in it from day one and said I was Satoshi from day one, then what's the point? So maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. What would you guys? Would you guys want to be Satoshi? Would you want to be outed as Satoshi? Like, oh, you got 1,000,000 Bitcoin. You're worth $56 billion. I don't know. You thought Satoshi was the NSA? Nah. Yeah, there's a whole government conspiracy about Bitcoin being started by the government, but no, thank you. I don't think so at all because that's the funny thing. Those are usually the same people that think the government can't do anything. So how would the government start a big giant conspiracy like this? That's the funny thing. Is a lot of the people that really believe that kind of stuff also don't believe in the government. But you believe the government can do all this stuff with extreme and extraordinary precision across thousands of people in dozens of years. It's crazy. Yeah, I think you're right, Monkeytron. I think you're right. All right, last one I had was KNC, and then we can dig into stocks. All right, KNC, no real buy point stepping in on this one, but it is an interesting channel on Kyber Network. We have noticed that layer ones lately have been a little bit under accumulation, so I wanted to get a nice alert level in on this one. And 7226 seems like a pretty good one. We'll get rid of some of these old ones while I'm talking. While I'm talking here. Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. Ah, that line's holding up, Monkeytron. That could be going. They kept Shield under wraps. No, Fury kept Shield under wraps. You gotta let the guy loose. Okay, otherwise, Nancy Pelosi's not keeping Shield under wraps. She'd go on elevated airplane hangar technology. That's what she would do. She's like, I'm long on DARPA. All right, so Kyber Network, interesting here. I like the sideways action. It'll pop out at some point. Nothing really going on with it right now, but anytime I update an alert level, I like to put it in the newsletter just to keep people aware. All right, that was it. Those were all of the cryptos I had for the day. Let's look at stocks and Tesla. So this segment is called Stocks and Tesla because Tesla, duh. Of course, we're going to talk about Tesla. Let's take a look around. Let's go. You know what? I'll just make this a little bit smaller, but we'll still keep it up. Nasdaq was hitting some resistance up here with our trend line. Looks like we're trying to bounce back at it a little bit. Volume's okay today. Not super low, not high either. Probably pretty normal. I like the ability to hold up here is good. I don't, not sure we're going to get right back to all-time highs. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Although we did look at the M2 money supply and they're not really reducing it that much. So that could be buoying up this market. If you look at stock market performance and the M2 money supply, they're very greatly correlated. S&P, ooh, that's another little recent high for S&P. Dow Jones, ooh, moving up. There you go. Small caps, I like the Russell doing this. I like what the Russell's doing. That is positive. That's all positivity right there. Transports, yes. Okay, transport's looking good. So going back to what Jake was talking about in terms of, he's seeing certain things in the large enterprise companies' earnings and margins are suffering terribly, mass layoffs. Maybe that's something specific, but you look at the broader economy, the transportation index is generally a market leader because it takes into account all of the different transportation segments. And if transport's booming, typically goods are moving. At least that's the theory. And transports have been coming back. We noted when it crossed the trend line, the market's really been in a nice state ever since. All right, Apple looking really good. Microsoft, nice. Tesla, nice consolidation. Amazon, good. Doing what it's supposed to be doing here. Square, not bad. ExxonMobil, So these are the ones I watch. Not for any major specific reason. Backblaze, I just happen to like the company. Stock is kind of garbage. Did break a trend line recently, though. AMD, the long-term turnaround entry, for those of you that are familiar with my long-term turnaround plays. NVIDIA, it's just to keep an eye on something with AMD, really. And then ConocoPhillips. DXY. Ooh, that's actually bullish. So DXY broke a trend line here. And we don't get volume with this one, but definitely breaking a trend line. That is a bullish thing. That means the market is not flying to safety. So pretty good. I'll take it. I like it. Means I need to go buy myself some pounds and some euros, though. Euro breaking out of a small consolidation today, and pound having a good day as well, breaking out from a declining wedge a couple of weeks ago there. Yeah, so all in all, I think all in all looks like things are trending in the right direction, which is not down. That's pretty much the right direction, is not down. BYD. So one of our guys, JJ, mentioned BYD was at highs, tried to break out, fell back in a little bit. This is BYD in China. These are traded over the counter under the ticker BYDDY. So this is really one to keep an eye on in terms of electric vehicles. Held up high pretty much the entire time there. Dutch Bros. And then I have Riot Blockchain. Just keep an eye on derivatives, and that's looking pretty good. One thing I like about the traditional markets is these Bitcoin derivative charts. Look at all this volume on the way up here, and look at this volume right here. Pretty good volume right now, also. Hey, what up, Don? Wind Moon, about 4 hours ago. But we're getting some decent volume here. Average volume getting bigger right there. So we could be trying to move up. It's actually holding this line, which is actually a really random line. There's really nothing very specific about it. That looks better. I must have moved it at some point, because that actually does look like a good... That does look like a pretty good line right there. I must have moved it at some point on the bottom. But it's on its way. On its way up there, so I don't remember what that's about. Get rid of that. All right, so that's really it for the stock market. Oh, no, somebody had a request. I'm sorry. Pins. Pin stock. What? Pinterest? Oh, what a cute little setup. Yes, I'll take it. Take it. Once it crosses that line, take it. That's not a bad one. Let's look bigger picture. Pinterest all the way back down towards lows. Obviously, we had a bigger spike there. That was during coronavirus, so you got to give up some of that. This is not bad. Let's see if the earnings are bad. 40% miss. 50%. 217% upside. That's good. 20% upside. I'm just looking at earnings. 75%, 88%, 20%, 7%, 230%. Standardized reported estimate. I'm not sure what the difference between standardized and reported is. Down 40%. So earnings are stepping up on November 3rd. That's in several months, actually. But that's not bad. That's a nice little flag setup here that could lead to an uptrend. So not too bad on that one. And LRC, is that a stock? It is not a stock. It's loopering. All right, you guys gotta let me know if it's a crypto, a stock, or what we're doing. If it's loopering or after there, Sawet, then I'll do it. If it's a stock, let me know. So, big trend line right there, and it looks like we're kind of playing with it. Loopring. We looked at loopring. Yeah, so it's one of our BTC pairs that we keep an eye on. It's not really doing anything tremendously good. I'm adjusting my standing desk to a sitting desk. Hold on a sec. Oh, there we go. Can't stand for an hour straight in the same spot. Yeah, I mean, not too bad, not great though. It's not. You're waiting for a breakout of about this level right there. I think that said 2275, 2175. So 2175 right there. That would be the breakout point for this particular little consolidation, but we're still in lows here. So heard a possible theory along the lines of Bitcoin could pump hard in 2023, then take a long bear remaining 3 years of the cycle. You want to talk about Bitcoin cycles? We can do that. It's not a bad talk, actually. We haven't done anything like that in a while. Let me go full screen here. Oh, you know what? Index BTC USD. There we go. Hold on a second, guys. Okie dokie. Oh, I had to stretch my back out. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. There is an indicator, I think. I don't know if I have it saved or not for the halvenings. Bitcoin halvening countdowns. Oh my goodness. You can't miss it. And that doesn't look right at all. That's a horrible use of an indicator. Oh my goodness. Monkeytron, didn't you have an indicator for that, Monkeytron? Ooh, what's this versus that? Oh yeah, this versus that. That sounds fun. All right, where the heck is it? Oh yeah, fair value gap too. Fair value gap's interesting. Although you don't use that for what it says. It's not a fair value gap. It's not what it infers. um, hmm. Hmm. So one of these has got to be past dates. Okay. Let's go weekly. And we can probably try to when's the next May 4th, 2024. Okay. You say April 10th. Now let's go right here then. It's pretty close. Ooh, my whole screen just got really bright. Apparently it's really bright in my room right now. I don't know where that sensor is, but wow, the screen is getting really bright. Now, one thing interesting, when you talk about Bitcoin cycles like this, Bitcoin has kind of changed the way it behaves recently. Obviously, we were going through just tons of parabolic moves, 2017 being the last one. In terms of actual parabolas, so we're not quite. I mean, we could have one or two more, but the question is, when do they stop? And when you think about, all right, now the brightness is going back down. That's weird. See now everything's dark. See, my eyes can't adjust that fast. When you look at Bitcoin's going to be around for what, 100 years? When does Bitcoin end? 2140. So it's going to be around for another 120 years, right? In terms of this halvening cycle. Does that mean that we're going to see Bitcoin, if you follow any kind of trajectory going out, like what should the Bitcoin price be in 2140? $7 trillion? Like what's the, where's the end to this? And I say that lovingly, but you generally get my point. Like at some point, we're not going to be able to sustain this type of we're not going to be able to sustain this type of price action, and I'm not sure if we'll level out or how that's exactly going to work, but what it could do. But in terms of the rallies continuing like they were, I was going to do a video about this actually, about how high can Bitcoin go realistically. Everyone's talking the next 5 or 10 years. No one's thinking 30 years out. If you're thinking 30 years out, maybe you're thinking $1 million Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like everyone would like it to do more, better, faster, but if we're unable to keep that trajectory, what are these? It's at 300,000, so you're looking at what, 1 million right here. And this is a log scale chart. I'll take log off in a second. You'll see how amazingly difficult that's going to be for that to happen. It's absolutely monstrous. So the question becomes, when you're looking at the cycles, when do they matter as much? Because if you look at the last halving here, and Monkeytron pops up every once in a while, and my screen's getting brighter again. Damn it. It talks about, okay, well, if you look at the Bitcoin monthly cycle, where's the halvings on this one? Shadowed past dates? Why? Why did it shadow? I don't understand. I don't know why it shadowed the past dates. Anyway, I guess I'll just stay here on the weekly. Am I high? No. Well, so I'm looking at, I have a 43-inch television as my monitor. Actually, that's what I have. I don't have a traditional computer screen. And these always have those auto dimming and auto brightening things on them. And I haven't turned it off. And so it just keeps getting really bright in my face. And it's pretty close. I mean, I can't touch it with my arm, but it's probably within about 5 feet of me. Sorry, I got to say it out loud. Otherwise, it just sticks in my head. That's just how I work. Yeah, it's a little weird. I agree with you. So let's look at the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curve. Somebody mentioned the rainbows or whatever that were in fire sale territory. Yeah, sorry. Pretty much everyone knows my setup. So it does that from time to time, but it's a lot today for some reason. It goes back and forth like this a few times. I don't know what it is. I should just turn it off. But yeah, you're talking about fire sale territory. We haven't spent a lot of time under this log growth curve, and looking at this log growth curve, looking at where we could get to 1 million, you're looking at 2027. But as far as we are underneath of this, 46% underneath where we broke. I mean, that's a pretty substantial drop. If you look at the log growth curve, we barely got to the middle. I guess the middle's not too bad if we get there by the middle. But this is unsustainable, I don't think. I don't think this is sustainable. 63% breadth right there versus the breadth down here of 2,000%, 1,600%. It's unsustainable to stay in on any kind of a growth curve like this. It's just nonsensical. People need to change their paradigm shifting around Bitcoin's long-term prospects. To some degree, no one actually knows for sure because this is an asset unlike any other, strictly due to the fact that obviously there's no majorly intrinsic value to it, and it just kind of floats around price-wise, to be quite honest with you. Now, you can have intrinsic value based on the mining ecosystem, and if I've seen some of those numbers, if you look at the value of the mining ecosystem of Bitcoin, it's tremendous, and there's definite value in that, but how that correlates one-to-one with the price is unknown, and no one's ever really been able to do a good job that I've seen of explaining the price action in Bitcoin. So you're just left with price action in general, price action theories. So when you're looking at this stuff, and you have to agree that we've changed behaviors in here. This is a more normalized bear market. and we've only had two of those other in Bitcoin history. One was here. This was that was 2017. One was here. This was a normalized bear market, and the other one was way, 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 way back here, and we saw it somewhere. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, it was this one. This was the only other kind of normalized bear market. Maybe that one wasn't it. Maybe it's this one. One of these got over 50% lower without going 80% lower. Yeah, I think maybe it was that one. So there's only been a number of traditional bear markets, and maybe they're getting more frequent. And if we're done with parabolic cycles and we're getting more frequent, then we will likely be going into a lower volatility scenario, which makes sense because you can't keep doing 600% every year, or even every 4 years. But I definitely think we have a lot more cycles to go. I mean, you look at the Nasdaq and other traditional markets. I mean, if you view Bitcoin as a commodity, which it really feels more like a commodity than a stock, even though right now it's trading like a penny stock. Still, BitCent. You've never doubted 1 million Bitcoin. Yeah, and I don't doubt 1 million Bitcoin. I'm just saying it may not get there by 2026. You know what I mean? And when you think of it throughout history, like if you look at, let's do something here. Let's check out here. Let's BTC and inflation, because I think this is interesting. Let's see if there's an inflation calculator and see if I can find one. Bitcoin calculator future, because you can calculate, if you're to be able to calculate inflation properly, you could probably derive 2072. So average inflation of 2.35, cumulative inflation of 400%, $100 will be worth $508 in 2072. That's pretty close to, at least for most of us. I'm sure I'll be dead by then, but I was born in '79, so I will be pretty darn close to there. I'm having as much hard time doing this math as I would in 2072, because it's just 100 minus 7, you idiot, 93. I'll be 93 right there, so your $100 would be, what does that say? Basically $500. And so your Bitcoin today at 20,000 should be worth 100,000 if there was no additional price appreciation. So if you get a 5x on Bitcoin, then we should be hitting that $1 million in 2072. Just using those types of things. In terms of inflation rate, I mean, I would assume just keep 2.5%. Obviously, the past couple of years are what they are, but I don't think it's going to be 8% forever. So, when you're looking about cycles and stuff like that, I mean, Bitcoin in 20 likely be well over $1 million. In terms of when it would get to $1 million, that's obviously hard to tell. But it's pretty much broken all of its trend lines. If you look at this curve that is following the bottom, I mean, it quasi looks like it may not get there. It would have to take a pretty gargantuan trajectory. That puts us at 2030, 2031. If we follow that, if you think we have more downside action, if we go sideways through this, it'll change the trajectory of that too. So it just, it's gonna end up there somewhere. We don't know if it's gonna chop up like this and then form a bigger cup and handle, then blast off and all this stuff, and then get up there by 2028. Obviously, everybody would like that to happen. What is the percentage gain actually from these highs to $1 million? 1,300%. I would say this: even if it got towards $1 million, it probably won't hit $1 million. It'll be sold off well before it hits $1 million. That happens like that all the time with stuff. Anytime you hit a big round number like that, and the next one is 100,000, after that's 500,000, then $1 million. Those are probably your next big numbers. Some of them, aren't really that great. Like 10,000 wasn't a huge barrier for Bitcoin at the time. It was in the midst of a parabolic run, and it doubled again after that. So, and then you have $1,000, which did lead to some resistance. Kind of a kind of a similar situation. Got up to about 1,200 before it finally cratered. So there's 1,000. 5,000 wasn't a major issue. 10,000 was not an issue. And then after that, 50,000 hit some resistance there. Then obviously you'll be hitting those as we go up. But it's hard to do these types of forecasting events, especially because, I mean, if you look at the prior history to Bitcoin over here, to say it was going to get to 20,000 was nuts. Like, I don't know anybody calling 20,000. No one's going to call the top exactly. It's just not from far away. So trying to do these exercises is difficult, but just inflation-wise, Bitcoin should be increasing in value just due to inflation. And that's why I wanted to look at an inflation calculator, because that would, it implies what it implies. And yeah, in terms of lows, I mean, that's really what kind of sets up where we go, I think. And if you look at the percentages that we've gone up, that's been decreasing as well. And I think that's something interesting to note. This one's definitely a unique scenario. This one, Bitcoin got really popular, so it obviously had a massive continuing run right there. 13,000%. This one, 1,300% from the peak all the way, peak to peak, 1,300%. This one, a little mini run, 200%. So if we've bottomed out here, you can go over from 200%. If you do go up 1,600%, that's puts us at 325. It's not bad. That's not bad. The question is, have we bottomed already, and are we getting out of any kind of a downtrend? That's the underlying question. Pretty much everything else is up to the universe. Really. That's up to the universe. But in terms of cycles, running and then running again, really got off this topic. Seriously. Way got off this topic. I'm going to re-timestamp it. So in terms of cycles, like here's the cycles. Moved up after the halving here, moved up after the halving here, moved up after the halving here. This is the next halving. So the question is, what do we do between now and then? That's the mystery. If you argue we're going to go on another large run, let's just use the bar. Here we go. Let's say we do something like this again. How's that so low like that? Oh, that was a fib. Come on. Jeez, what are you doing there, man? That's so weird. How come it didn't take me to the bottom? So that would get us up towards also 300 something thousand. If it does an approximate percentage. Obviously, this is out of a major capitulative situation. If we remove that, and we take this into account, see, what is that? Why is it starting up here when I'm clicking down here? I don't understand, Captain. Maybe it doesn't do it on log. Maybe that's what it is. And that's also up towards 300,000. If we go more muted than that, you can pick your poison. I mean, pick your poison on that. We'll have to see what the reaction gets. But, this starts moving a little bit after. Actually, maybe we bottom beforehand like this, because we don't know what it's going to do. Here you have a bottom, plenty of time before the halvening. This one was well before, this one was closer. But you can see if we bottomed here, that would be more in line with what we did here. Say we've already bottomed and we just chop around again. Do we fill this in with the largest, the largest downward, largest and lowest thing like that in history? That makes this one look very benign indeed. Lowest, choppiest area. What is it like in between here? And then where is this low going to be? And forget all this action in between. It's just about the percentages between the peaks. That's about it. So, I mean, you never know what we could do. We could pop up here like we've been talking. Maybe we pop up here and we come back down. And then, maybe we take a dip under. And then we pop back up. And then we chop higher again. And then we attempt lower. And then we run into the situation. You got one on Slack? All right, Monkeytron, what you got, bud? Oh, let me read your comment here. Second year after halving is this year and has always been a bear market. Next year's always been a bull year. Okay. So here's his year chart. Where's your? Don't you have the halvings on here somewhere? The white triangle. Okay, gotcha. So these are the bull markets, the white halvenings. Okay, so you got the halvenings in white, the bull markets in green, and the subsequent bear market in red. Okay. So halvening, big bull market, halvening, big bull market, halvening, no bull market, or very, very muted bull market, one way or the other. And then you've got the bear market 2 years before here, bear market 2 years before here, bear market 2 years before here. So there's your bull, your consolidation, and then your breakout. So it looks like there's a bull flag, there's a bull flag. Maybe this changes the cycle because it obviously didn't work right there. So and here's your logarithmic growth curve. It looks like, yeah. Well, you've only got so many candles to work with here, anyways. It's not a big data set. It's hard to really infer a lot on that, but it shows the same thing that we see. It just obfuscates a ton of price action for like 3 years before we go to an all-time high again. Um, one thing this could lead to is obviously stagnating for a longer period of time. If you look at gold itself, and we can't take, I haven't been able to find a really, really, really long-term view on gold. But if you look at gold, it's stagnated for very long time frames. And I don't think I'll be able to. Oh, there we go. That's pretty good. So I mean, and prior to this, gold had a huge run up, and gold stagnated here for a very long time. Bitcoin cycles aren't near this long, but Bitcoin stagnated for very, very long periods of time. Or I'm sorry, gold stagnated for very, very long periods of time. Green line becomes resistance. Well, we haven't been talking about that. Everybody wants to talk about it going up, but I mean, that's absolutely a possibility. I mean, it's absolutely a possibility. And then we just, whatever. But everyone had the growth curves on here um, for the longest time, and those have been obliterated. The growth curve, dies up here, and we're 46% it right now. So this is just a line that I drew. I don't know if this has any real actionable intelligence in it. It's just a line I drew just to kind of show the lower, the lower echelon, and the fact that we are slowing in terms of price appreciation. There's another possibility too, which is, we just do something like that in some, do whatever you want with the right side of this, but there'd be some kind of a flat pivot point, if you will, where we kind of end up. You have to have that like that. I don't have another tool, I don't think, to do more curves, but you get the gist of it. Is that because really what this is confidence in Bitcoin increasing dramatically, leading into everyone knows about it, people that want it have it, and until we're in another risk-on environment, we may not see another large type of movement up. And I think you can see in the past couple of years, it's become part of the traditional financial system, as evidenced by the bump today up with the inflation numbers. Like Bitcoin should have nothing to do with those inflation numbers. Absolutely nothing. So it's one of those things. Everyone thinks it's gonna be decoupled. First they thought it would replace money. Obviously that wasn't gonna happen. And then they think it's gonna be like gold, and then they think it's gonna go straight up. And I mean they have all these assumptions about what it's gonna do. Mainly it's just to benefit their pocketbook. And unfortunately they don't see that bias. They They don't see that bias. They're unwilling to see it, and it's going to cause them some harm, some hardship probably. Nothing to stop it forming an enormous cup up here that will test patience. Yeah, I don't know. Well, if you think about a huge cup on a yearly time scale, that's gonna be a thing. Best form of money we've ever. No, it's not. It's just another thing, Monkeytron. It's just the next thing. They'll have another great thing. It's an original thing. It's you know what? Someone posted a video about the best explanation of Bitcoin you've ever seen, and it really was an amazing explanation of Bitcoin. I don't get it. That's right. I'm uneducated on this stuff. Um, it was really a great explanation of Bitcoin, and I'll see if I can remember where it is. But essentially, the gentleman was speaking in front of Congress, explaining Bitcoin, and he said it's not the best. He said it was the first, and that's the big thing. It's the first triple entry ledger. It's the first trustless ledger. It's the first digital ledger that is globally referenced. It's the first ledger system where anyone can create a wallet at any time for free. It's the first way to transfer money without an intermediary across any kind of a distance. It just had so many firsts. So many firsts. And he's 100% correct about that. He said it's in its infancy. He says everything correct. He's not blowing smoke. He's not overly ambitious. And anyway, it's got value. It'll get up there. But I thought it was really good. See if I can just Google it. It was a video. I don't think it was this guy. And of course, it's going to be CNET highlights. I'm not sure if it's this guy or not. Doesn't look like him. He had a beard. I'll try to find it. I'll post it in the comment of the video if I do. But that's about it. All right, guys, let's get out of here. As usual, more people, longer shows. So if you guys are interested in the Power Hour, we kind of do this every day. And you can check in, got some guys that just check in once a week. Some guys check in every day. Some guys just read the newsletter. So if you guys are interested in that, check out the link in the description below for the Power Hour. Yeah, good times. All right, let's wrap it up. There are also timestamps down below that will be put on after the show is ended. So let's go ahead and wrap up the show today. Interesting, we just had Bitcoin move up. The whole market moved up on inflation, but we ran right into some resistance. And we're going to have to try to get above said resistance in order to get really bullish. All in all, I generally think we're in a larger choppy period. I didn't really explain that a lot earlier. We were talking about a lot of additional big picture theory with Bitcoin, but I think we're in a more choppy period right now. We have the ability to go up a little bit, but not the ability to go up a lot. And I definitely think it's going to be tougher trading for the time being. So, take great signals. Right now, we don't have a lot of great signals. We do have a lot of adjusted alert levels that can go off, but not a lot of great signals. Miss the inflation news? Well, the inflation was supposed to come in at whatever, and it came in under that. It was 8% instead of 9%. I'm not sure the exact numbers. It doesn't even matter, to be quite frank with you. It doesn't matter at all. But market rallied up. It's good. We do have a possibility to continue the rally. We're going to have to see some alerts go off. We're going to have to see additional volume step in. We're going to have to see all of those things happen. Otherwise, we're in a territory of chop and potentially rolling us back over. But I like the ability that we're able to stay higher. That's really nice. We asked for, I don't want to say we asked for, we said if the market's going to come back up, it's got to do it in dramatic fashion. And it sure did it for 2 hours. So that's a good thing. for a recession, Bitcoin could be doing a lot worse. Um, Bitcoin, I don't think has it ever been through an actual recession? I don't think so. And I don't really think it matters. It just matters in terms of buying and selling pressure. Bitcoin itself obviously is agnostic to all that garbage. It doesn't care at all. So it'll be interesting to see what it does. It's a risk on asset. You've said that a lot. Bitcoin's a risk. When the market's risk off, they sell off Bitcoin. That's pretty much what happened. It's a risk off. It's a risk on asset. When risk is back on, they'll start leveling back into BTC. They've done it a little bit here. We can go to the index chart and see it as well. Look, they've done it a little bit, but not to a large extent. And I think it's going to be probably till the end of the year, maybe early next year. It's probably a little window there, but we'll see it in the charts. And we'll see it in the charts. So, all right, guys, have a great day. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow.